I am so excited. So excited. I can't even begin to tell you, man. Can't begin to tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DA Talks. I'm your host, Derek, and I have a wonderful individual across from me right now. Person that I've worked with personally on music. We help write lyrics together. Wrote music in this room. He's back again. We did a podcast before, which unfortunately never saw the light of day because my phone deleted it. But he's back, 2.0. Ladies and gentlemen, Jaron, Carolina.
Hey, everybody, Jaron, Carolina. I'm also known as House. And I don't know really what to say now at this point. We're going
You
off
can
the
say
cuff
anything,
here.
man.
But
That's what the whole thing is, the whole platform. You can say whatever you want, man.
Sweet. Start off by saying that recently we had individuals storm a federal building. And,
Oh, goodness. We're going there, aren't we?
Well, here's what I'm
Okay,
bringing
we're
up.
going
Here's
there.
what I'm bringing up. I'm not going to bring up politics itself. What I am going to bring up is there's always repercussions to things, and no matter what anybody believes, people have to think it's. I think One Piece is really funny, and everyone has to laugh at this too. You go to a place where if you do certain things, they will label you as a terrorist.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're labeled as that, you get on certain lists. So imagine going to something and going, you know what, I'm going to fly to this place and get a round trip ticket after I'm done doing what I've scheduled myself to do,
Yeah.
which is against the law. And then you try to get on a plane to go home, and they say you can't fly because you're now on a no-fly list because they declare you a terrorist. I just want to say that that's kind of funny. To think.
Interesting. Oh, okay.
I just think it's funny because it goes. The reason why I bring that up, and my first thing in my head, is because I've been laughing at it all day, thinking to myself, people were like, "Yeah, we're gonna do this, and there's gonna be no repercussions whatsoever."
Right. They can do whatever they want. in this
And
world,
then
man.
I watched like 12 different videos of people crying just in airports alone, mad because they can't fly back to their state
Well,
because they're now on a list because they broke a
they're the
humongous law.
they're the idiots for doing that. I mean, they're the ones going back. How do you expect to do something like that at that level, and then think, oh, it's cool.
It's gonna be
Those-
okay.
It's okay. Just
Totally fine with me.
it's fine. I think it's okay.
It's totally fine. It's totally fine. I mean, forget people losing their jobs and all things like that, as well as that. But now you can't even just go home. You're like, I know you pay for this, but not only you pay for this, you can't go. You're labeled a terrorist. And then the the feds come and pick you up. And you don't know. You could be Tom Johnson, who's an accountant in Colorado, was like, I'm going to go do this. And now you're labeled a terrorist for like the rest of your life.
Well, that's. I mean, you reap what you sow, man. If you're gonna go out there and do some crazy shit like that, well, I understand. Like, there's circumstances behind it, but realistically, man, you're doing it to yourself. You're the idiot. I'm sorry, man. Like, I get it. There's a lot of issues going on in this world, absolutely. And if you decide to make that choice to do that, that's you. That's all you. And you got to live with that.
Exactly that. I mean, I just thought it was funny. It's not a politics show for me. I didn't want to say that or get too much into politics.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of politics, it's funny when someone does something and just thinks nothing bad is going to happen to me after that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do something so severe and everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's not. And I think it's funny, and I really been enjoying those lately in the last couple of days of just watching videos of people being like, how dare you? I am this and this and that. And they're like, well, now you're a terrorist. So you can't go back home.
Probably those kids you never got like whooped on by their parents when they were a young kid, you know?
Yeah. Or 40
They
people in
just
their 40s and 50s who are now like, total normal people who are now considered terrorists because you've done the thing that terrorists do.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what your politics or your choices are, you did a terrorist act. And that just shows you that some people just don't think, and you can go through something.
I don't think people think people don't. A person is smart. Here's what I think. I think a person is smart. People are stupid. You have that mob mentality where like one person does it and then all of a sudden somebody starts following in line.
Almost definitely.
You know, there's never that individual himself. And now I'm not saying all individuals are smart because those motherfuckers are retarded sometimes. Okay, but my point though is that one person who's the wild one who's just off the rails. And a whole crowd of people makes a decision, and everyone starts to follow it. That's just it is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And it's an unfortunate thing that it happened at our Capitol building. It's unfortunate that all that happened and the way it unfolded. But things are going to happen. People starting to have a voice now. People are starting to have a a motivation and go, hey, something's not right. We got to fix it, And now we're at the point where it's starting to impact everybody. And before it was just something that was overlooked, something that just no one really cared to talk about or address.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's being addressed around the world, or in the U.S. Excuse me. But
we're laughing stocks other places, and that's just what happens in other countries. Are like, this is hilarious. They watch our stuff as comedy shows. I mean, our news as comedy. And with those things happening, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're just gonna let's move forward. I just wanted to bring that up.
No, you're
I've
good,
been watching. I've been watching those videos all day and yesterday, and I'll be like, how did they just people just mad? They don't understand why they're in trouble, and I'm like, you don't understand.
Well, you brought up something before. We had a little conversation before we got on here. You talked a little bit about your boxing now, and you were actually looking to do amateur fights soon. And I'm kind of curious because I'm a big fan of MMA, a big fan of any kind of combat sports, kickboxing, all that kind of stuff. Boxing is big for me too. I like it. I'm not as big as into boxing as I am into MMA. So I'm just curious, like, what are your goals going into that, and how long have you been training for? Like, what's going on?
So I stepped foot into a gym in Vallejo 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in April or 2000. I want to say it was 2018, 2019. 2019, yeah. So it'll be my second full year in April, and I stepped foot. My boy invited me. And I told myself, April, I'm gonna go, and it took me a couple months. Stepped foot in there, and I met a guy named Tyler. Tyler is the coach of the gym, and he was running the classes. And the first thing I said, I went boom, put my money down on the table. I said, I'm going to learn how to box. Day one, what do I need to do? I'm coming every day, and every day I came. I was getting my butt whooped left and right, and I mean, what would happen?
That's how it starts.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to.
It's so bad. I actually have the first punch I took in the ring. I have it on camera. Been laid out before. Wasn't fun. But the thing about my gym, and I say my gym is in like, I feel like I'm a part, and they've never made me feel out of place. The coaches there, Tyler and Nico, the veterans that go to that gym, guys who are former Golden Gloves, guys who are also looking to seek professional careers, guys who just train to train. Everybody who's had that skill set. The thing about that gym and what I like about it is that everybody comes in. If you're serious, they take you serious. Yeah, it's not a joke. Right. But at the same time, with anything, if you come into anything, they just want to, and you act like it's nonchalant, they'll just take your money and move forward. Right. But that's not what these guys do.
Oh, that's not their ultimate goal.
They literally look at you and say, "It's what you want to do," and then your merit goes from it. It's not even your skill set.
Louder than words. Yeah,
exactly. Everything is actions, and Tyler has been like that way since day one. Nico's the same way. I think they're a dynamic duo, and what they've done is everyone they coach and allow me to be a part of, and things they tell me, it's always helped me.
Are there multiple coaches? Like, so I know sometimes in certain instances they have different coaches for different aspects of boxing. So you have one who's like strictly about their endurance, or does one have strictly work on like the striking side, or how does that?
I think everybody has their own strengths and weaknesses, and they just go from there.
Okay.
When I say I want to go amateur, as I want to get into a point where I'm taking some fights that are outside of the gym, in itself. Sparring has been here and there, and thanks to COVID, things have been different. I wouldn't been able to ingrain a ethic that I have now on my own when I'm not even in the gym without been going for so long and learning the conditioning from all of those coaches. But like you said, the different aspects, it happens. Some of them really are strong at one suit and another, and it's almost like a foundation that they've built. Here's the primary foundation, and once they see that you have that, then they like, oh, it's time to get your ass kicked and move on forward. And then it's now I'm learning something different. Yeah, and moving forward. Then it's like
I've seen that. I did follow some of the videos you posted. I follow your videos on Instagram, or I see a lot of Faye. Faye posts a lot of stuff with you guys all training together. She's getting fucking studly at striking, man. She's got hands now. She's moving them really well. Like, good footwork. Like, I was really impressed. Shout out to you, Faye, man. You kicking ass.
And she's dropped a ton of weight, and she's moved and transitioned to herself to be to a state in her body where she's not just healthier, but even more confident and strong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to fight her.
I think that's
I don't want to fight her, so I'm letting you know I don't want to fight her.
But,
I've
yeah.
taken a punch from her. And she's
No one wants to fight her.
it went from her, as well as the mother of my child. They went from she's different. Mother of my child had no problems punching me in the face. Day one, no issues no issues.
Because
Whacking
deal
me
with your
with
ass
her
all the time.
all the time. But like Faye, she's like a mother figure to me. So she was like, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" And like it was weird. Then that kind of went away in like week 2, and now it's just like I'm gonna pop you, and I got to be ready. And so now, but their growth is huge. And I give 110% of that and myself to the coaches that are there. Even when they see this, like, yo, like my goals are still there and I'm still moving. I don't see them as often right now because of COVID standings.
Right, but that's what makes things better in a way where I know COVID. I'm not saying COVID's good.
Right.
I'm saying that because of COVID right now, not everybody's there. It's more of a focused thing. So like basically, like the coaches have more time to focus on the individual fighters. Sometimes if they're training a specific person, they can actually go, they can spend more time with that individual person. Now I'm not saying their job's tough already, having to go through and coach. I mean, I can't imagine trying to teach 15 people something like that. And break it up in increments. Now they have the time. I mean, I'm not sure how many fighters are training or who goes there.
But like
I'm just saying that now they can have the time. They go, okay, we can only have 6 in here today.
Yeah.
So they can spend a whole lot more time with those 6 individuals than to have a whole team of guys in there at once because they're trying to 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. You know what I mean? So
it's different. So like the sessions are different because at first it seems like classes. If you're going to take class, you're going to take class. But if you're coming to train, you're coming to train.
Okay.
And that's you know what I mean? It's different. It's a whole different feeling. Like I've had another gym experience. I've had 2 gym experiences in my whole life outside of this one. And that's why I feel like this is my home gym to me.
Yeah. And there's always that weird thing when you enter any kind of facility like that, like a gym kind of feeling or like anything like that. At first you enter it and you either go like, oh, this is really cool, and you feel like you're like empowered or something. Just something about it makes you feels like home. And then other times you're just like intimidated by everything. You're like, okay, let's do this. You're like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. I'm confused. You're the one awkward. You feel like you're the one to do anything awkwardly. It just doesn't feel right. But I mean, that's one thing I say. Gyms have that kind of. Sometimes they have that appeal where you're like, fuck. There's some guy over there, and this is like just from an example. Like me, when I was younger, I did Taekwondo, and I remember training, and I loved it because of the focus. I loved the focus aspect of it, to where like it was the only way I could get better is if I got better. It wasn't like we were in a group, we all got better, and then I just gave you. Everybody got participation trophies. Like you got your own, you belted up. Like that's on you. Yeah. So I remember just going over the routines and having doing the drills and showing all that stuff. I love that. And then the day I got I think it was my white belt. I was like super stoked because like it was the whole process. He brought my parents in. They sat him down in the corner, and he did the whole showing. He had me do all the drills. He presents me with the belt. I'm like, oh, thanks. And then after like 2 weeks of that, he was like, hey, how about you stick around as a class? We're going to do some rolling, some jiu-jitsu. And I was like, hell no. This is hell no. I would not do that. And he's like, well, why? I'm like, I don't want to get strangled. Like, and some of these guys, man, it's just, it's crazy. And she can come over and say hi. It's all good. It's all good. She can say hi. Yeah, it's all good. But like one of these things, it's like it's so intimidating at first. You walk into a building, you walk into a thing, and it's so intimidating. But then what happens is like you put yourself out there and go, hey, I want to do this, and you get in there, and then someone sees like strengths, sees some things that you do really well, or goes, this guy has a lot of potential, and I'm willing to invest that if you're willing to give me that, and that's what it comes down to. You know what I mean? So I could see how sometimes going into a gym would be like that, but then you going, okay, I like it, like something just hit home with me.
Yeah, I think the first aspect when I stepped in 2 years ago was like, okay, I'm gonna come in here. I'm invited by another guy, right? I'm gonna meet these guys, and nobody in the gym itself, and this doesn't account for every gym, because you get hotheads and people who are like, I'm just better. I'm this and that.
Yeah, you're going to have that.
And it's going to be that way. And some people like to keep people down. No one in the gym ever wanted to hold people down. It was like, because if you're better and you get better, and I get in the ring with you, I'm gonna have to get better.
Right.
So that was I felt that's what it was. Like, these guys
You're
want me to get better. They only want me to
get
get better. And every single person that was in that gym who was a guy training or a coach stopped and said something to me, spoke to me, and was like, here's tips and tricks. And some guys, old guys just like, being coach, you know what I mean, telling young folks what to do, and we like that. Hey, whatever works. But there are people who genuinely like, I want you to get better, because when I fight you, I want to be at your best.
Yeah,
like just in general,
as a competitor, though.
As a competitor,
you want to push yourself, and if you're not continuously pushing yourself, then you're not growing.
Iron sharpens iron. So if I stay soft, all I'm doing is making the guys around me not use their full potential, and what happens is, in a serious situation or a fight or an actual match, they're doing themselves a disservice by letting your team be weak. And that's one thing about boxing where I'm at in Punch with Purpose. They're not that at all. It's every individual wants to be strong in a team aspect, but they're all strong on their like and they keep that ethic. Like I said, I don't even consider myself a part of the team in itself, but I treat the gym like my home, and I treat and respect everyone that steps foot in that gym. So Tyler, Nico, those two coaches who were just a dynamic duo, man, I owe them every change in my life there right now, and my ethic about building my body and my skill set into this. I owe them all of that, because it's different when you go to a class like the gyms that I've gone to something where I thought I was going to train and not train in any way, shape, or form the capacity that I train at the other gym, at my gym. I've gone to a gym in Sacramento where I was like, went one day and I was like, meh. Some of my people still go over there sometimes, but I went there that one day. I was like, what is this? Like, I'm like, if I wasn't wearing a jacket, I wouldn't be sweating. Like, like it was like that, And I wasn't saying that I'm better or worse, but I felt like I wasn't.
There's levels. There's tiers, man. There's tiers at every game, and that's good. I mean, it's not. There's gonna be guys who are certain coaches, and there's certain coaches. You're gonna have your. You're gonna have certain. It's just the way it is. There's just guys who are top tier coaching, and there's top tier fighters, and their job as coaches are to find like the best part of you and to just express that and show it, and to train that and to teach you all that, and then envelop that and make it better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for them if they're making that kind of impact on you, that's awesome, dude. That's what everybody should go through. I think. I mean, not everyone's going to be the best fighter in the world. Not everyone's going to be the champion of the world, but everyone can go out there and hit their potential and do what they love and enjoy it.
Yeah. Some
of the best workouts in the world are MMA workouts, because they work your whole body. They work your mind. You're constantly thinking. Jiu-jitsu is one of those things that actually strengthens your mind and body at the same time, because you're doing all these movements and you're controlling your hips have to go a certain way, your arms. It's like a giant, it's a giant chess match with your body, and boxing's the same thing, but with your hands, your feet movement, like all these cool things that they teach you that you never really pay attention to. And like even now, I bet now after you've been training, now you probably did this before. I mean, if you were interested in boxing and you liked it that much, you can watch a fight and actually see, like, you speak a certain language now.
Yep.
Like you can actually, and it's really strange. Like even me, I'm not a fighter. I don't fight. I haven't ever competed. I like to roll. That's one thing that I like to do. Never taken classes. I just kind of messed around with some of my friends who knew how to kind of do it, and they taught me some stuff. And sometimes I get drunk, and my buddy and I wrestle. It's just how it happens. But and we're sitting there, and like I'm really interested, but I've never actually had that language. Like some people have that ability and just they speak fighting language.
Yeah,
they see movements, like they watch stuff, like they breathe it. They just know, you know what I mean? And these guys, like you're saying, your trainers, man, they just, something about the way they operate is good. It's successful. They know what they're doing. They are able to implement their strategy to their team and their fighters for them to be successful in their own way, and not just to reflect them as coaches, but to make them, the fighters, actually stand out. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. But I get it, and that's cool, and I think that's awesome, man. Where's the gym in Vallejo? Where is it at?
It's in Vallejo. It's actually Vallejo Pow Center.
Where's that? Like
it's just downtown Vallejo.
Okay, see, because I work in Vallejo, but I work like off of Sereno. So like I'm literally like, I get off the freeway and then on Serrano and then boom, Sonoma. I'm on Serrano Drive on Sonoma. It's right there. So I was just curious. I didn't know.
Yeah, it's downtown. It's not always in like necessarily the nicest place, but at the same time,
hey man, it's all good.
Dude, it's
You ain't
it's
going
such
there to fucking. It ain't, dude,
I'm not over there to buy
you're
property.
Sweating and shit.
I'm
You're
over there.
It's down in
crazy.
there. Come on, man.
And you are working. It's work. Even the kids that go there, you know, it's work, and that's a thing. So when it comes to boxing, I'm gonna try to go to this gym for as long as humanly possible, and I'm gonna train this capacity as long as humanly possible, because I am in love with building my skill set. I have the same feeling at this as I do with music. Now is that I want to build this and myself. I said I want to hit as much as I can. I said 5. I said let me take 4 or 5. Let me see if I can get to that point and see where I'm at. I mean, I am older now, but I said what can I do here, because I see it and I believe in myself. And if I believe in myself, yet again, the guys, the coaches, the other fighters, they'll believe in it too, because they see it. And that's what happens when you do effort. We got guys that come in and talk mad shit, and all of a sudden, you know, they A, B, C, and D, and then I see my coach be like, okay, let me know if you want to go pro, and walk away. And or they've gotten in the ring. In one instance, the mother of my child got in the ring with a dude one time, and dude was like, I'm gonna take it easy on you, and she was like, huh, okay, popped her gloves on, was like, you ready to do it? I was like, and we were like, hey, you should like make sure your guard's up, bro. And he was like, yeah, I got it. And she was like, all right. And it was just an exchange. It was like he throws a certain amount of punches, then she throws a certain amount of punches. That means you know they're coming.
Yeah, right.
It didn't like go that way. It was like he threw his punches, and she was like, okay. And then she threw her punches, and you could see the change in his body.
He started to get to gain respect for her.
Because she was beating like the dog shit out of him with every punch. And then one of the guys, one of the OGs, was right there, and he looked and goes, he ain't doing anything we told him to do. And we was like, yeah, I know, right? He's not. I said, well, you told him, and he's not. And then that whole 2 rounds of that, after that, I'd never seen that dude again.
God,
just never. Just hadn't seen it. And I was like,
you can see how certain fighters.
Like, damn, you ran him out the gym, and she was like,
whatever, dude.
Hey, you told him what to do.
Yeah,
I did what y'all told me to do. It's
what it is.
It is what it is. And but like those kind of aspects, those people, they get weeded out really fast at that gym. Okay. You know, I don't think that I feel like martial arts in itself is gaining a big comeback. All aspects of martial arts, a big comeback, and I think that sometimes people think of it as like a media thing. Like I just want to hit some mitts or do some kicks and post it on Instagram and say I'm this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I want to be confident in saying that I'm a boxer, and because I take it 110% seriously, just as if I'm a musician. I didn't buy a keyboard, play 2 notes, and say I'm a musician, or write half of a song and say I'm a songwriter now because I wrote a song for TikTok for 10 seconds with 2 cool lines. You know what I mean? Like I say I want to commit to what I'm at, and I want to back it up. Mm-hmm. So, you know, this right here, this is coming back to this. I said I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it. And when I look back at this, I know for a fact, like I said I did it on this. I said I did it on my boy's podcast, and now I'm doing it for real.
You're doing it.
And it's just kind of putting my money where my mouth is. And at that point, everyone does these things and backs out of them really fast. Like, I did it for a minute, now I'm done. Did it for a minute, now I'm done. It's hard to commit to things, and for people nowadays, and that's just something I'm just trying to break out of. I told myself now that the things that I commit to, whatever I do now, I'm gonna commit to it. And the things that I'm not committing to right now, I need to let go.
Okay.
Like I'm back and forth with it. I gotta just let it go. A big thing, whether it comes to relationships, whether it comes to, like I said, the music and boxing, whether it comes to stuff in my finances, you know, like frivolous spending. Like I was like, I gotta either get rid of this or not. It's simple as subscription,
right.
a simple like pro subscription to something. You know what I mean? Like a plus subscription. You're like, oh, do I really need it? Do I not? And you're like, oh, well, maybe I do. Like, nah, forget it. Don't do it or keep it.
Yeah.
Little stuff like that ends up like little things I started doing, then building more and more to now everything I'm doing now is now like solidified. Like here's the tracks and my path that's going on. So I know I'm segueing into random stuff, but that's basically how I feel about social media boxers and social media. Like I'm social media this person, I'm social media that, and then they just let stuff go.
I think realistically, people all have a voice now. Obviously, with social media actually gives you that platform to do that. And some people just have that who want to show off what they're doing, and I get that. And everyone's different. Everyone's the same, and I understand it. But realistically, there's a certain level to everything. There's a certain level to if you want to show me where you're working on, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
You have all the right to do that. There's levels like, okay, you're just doing it for popularity. So the whole like, what is it, Jake Paul or whatever the fuck that kid's name is, that boxer right now who's about to fight Floyd Mayweather.
I think that's Logan Paul's.
Logan?
I think it's Logan Paul who's
Jake
fighting.
Paul's the older brother, right?
Jake Paul's the younger brother. Logan's the older.
No, Logan. Okay, Logan Paul's fighting Mayweather, but Jake Paul's the one who's calling out like McGregor and calling out.
Jake Paul just fought, and he fought on a special card.
Come on, man! And he fought a NBA star who had little to no boxing experience, and he wants to sit there and say that he's the best. I'm 2-0 in boxing. I'm like, okay, man, listen. You make the most badass TikTok shit. Like, you make all kinds of videos. You make hella money. Good for you. But you better say, if you think you can take out someone like, okay, first of all, Conor McGregor, okay, fought the best boxer in the world and went and survived 10 rounds with him and never fought professional boxing, okay? I'm not sitting there saying that Floyd took it easy on him, because Floyd he didn't strike him as much. Floyd had a strategy, and it was like, hey, let him get tired. Let him throw the strikes. Let him waste his energy, because Conor's a big guy. He was huge compared to Mayweather. But he had a strategy, and he implemented that strategy beautifully. And then when he was in the 10th round, Mayweather, with all his energy he has, because he has endurance, like cardio like a motherfucker, started whooping on him, and then won, and did what he was supposed to do. If this motherfucker thinks he can go into a ring with Conor McGregor and fight him and think that he's going to be the better striker, he's got another thing coming. And I'm telling you right now, even in boxing, I still think McGregor would still take him. If he wants to go over to MMA, good fucking luck, bro. Good fucking luck. You want to come over here and fight, or you want to go fight McGregor in UFC? You're going to have to get fucked up, dude. Because that dude is a hard 170 now. Like, he's fucking training. He's fighting. He is a beast now in comparison to, like, even before, and he's got the death touch, dude. That left hand is ridiculous. You watch that shit, it's like fucking Beauty in Motion. That thing just targets the fucking guy's temple or something, and then they're asleep. Nothing. So for him to do all that, dude, fuck that, man. Like, what are you thinking? Like, he wants to make money. I get it. He wants the cash grab. That's cool, man. But don't. It's more or less about him than it is about Conor. It's more like he wants to get the fame. He wants to do all that. So he's doing it. So it goes back to those social media posters who go, I want to post this because I want to be the coolest guy or I want to show everybody what I'm working on. I want to show. All right, man, that's cool. It's cool to, like, represent yourself in that way. But there's level to a point where you're like, okay, listen, man, now you're just boasting yourself. It's like an ego boost kind of, or like you want to get that confidence. I think ultimately everybody wants to have that confidence and wants to get that, and then wants to get the feedback from people seeing it. Everybody wants that confidence. I mean, as a fighter, confidence is super important. Going into any kind of situation as a fighter, if you're competing, if you're training, you have to have confidence. I mean, you're training you're literally spending. If you're a professional fighter, you're training to fight one person. You're training to hurt somebody. That person's training to hurt you, man. Like, you got to have that confidence, knowing going in that I have a strategy, I have a game plan, I'm going to win. I'm going to implement that strategy, and I'm going to win. You have to have that confidence and believe in yourself that you can make it happen. And there's going to be shards of doubt. There's going to be things that go into your mind. But you have to have that ability to go, okay, listen, I know what I have. I know the skills that I have, and I know what I can do to win. But I got to implement I got to implement this strategy, and I got to use those skills to beat this person. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have that mentality. And that confidence that we're talking about, those social media posts that they're putting up, all that stuff, that's their way of building their confidence. Some people need that. Some people need that as an outlet. Mm-hmm. But then other people take advantage of it. And I think when you say stuff like when you say that, like, I think of the people who take advantage of it, who are just like, oh, cool, I'm just putting this out there so I can look like I'm this. I'm just putting myself in this position so I can show everybody who I am. You know, the people I like are the ones who are actual fighters who don't even post videos at all. They don't do anything like that. And they post one video, and it's fucking, the video they post is fucking Mike Tyson hitting pads at fucking 50, just smashing them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like, I get it. I can see both sides of the spectrum. I can see the side of, like, I need this to build my confidence and to build myself up for a fight or for an event or for this, for me to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
But then I also see the side of it where, okay, I'm just doing it so I can get views. I'm doing it so I can just get this out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see both sides of it.
Totally.
For me, what it sounds like, it just sounds like, you know, from the situation you're saying, like, that sounds just straight up like, okay, I want people to think I'm cool. And when at the end of the day, man, you don't have to be, if you're passionate about something and you love something, do it.
Yeah.
Fuck
absolutely.
everybody else. Everybody else, you don't need anybody else's approval to do anything, man. It's your life. Live it. You know, don't waste your time worried about what other people think about you, man. I can't tell you how many times, like, I mean, there's a lot of times where I think about that too, but at the same time, hey, man, it's life, dude. People are always going to have an opinion. Even if you were the best person in the world. Fucking Tom Brady right now is about to go into the goddamn playoffs, potentially going to the Super Bowl. That's the nicest motherfucker in the world. Like, somebody could be in his face like, Tom, I hate you. You're a piece of shit, and I want you to die. Well, you know, man, I really appreciate that, and I just try my best to do whatever I can every single day, and I work on that. So I appreciate your honesty, and I hope I'm able to change your mind soon in the future. You're like, man, fuck, dude.
Just don't talk about his kids, like that radio host who was like,
everybody has the button, dude.
He called that radio station, was like, I basically like give you guys everything, and you do this to me. That dude was gone in like an hour.
Oh, fuck, that's right. I forgot about that,
yeah.
man. Oh, my God.
Table, baby, so you can have it. Cause then, what?
Oh.
Okay, well, nope, you're going to wait till me and Uncle Derek are done, okay?
All right.
And then when we're done, we'll do that, okay? You can wait. We're almost sort of done.
Almost.
Sort of. So, first off, the Logan Paul, Jake Paul thing. Anybody that wants to do anything like this, when it comes to anything, Lord knows that I stepped in there thinking that I was a fighter and realized that I was not on day one. All the way to now, I don't think I'm a fighter. I cannot say that as being so green and such a novice and someone who's just learning, who's on chapter 1 of the textbook still when it comes to boxing. I think everyone should learn a martial art of some sort. I think everyone should. I think everyone should learn something. And a lot of people feel like boxing is the easiest thing to pick up. But I feel like it's one of those things that's easy to learn but hard to master.
What would you say? What would be your reasoning behind that? What's something about that makes it good for everyone? Everyone should do it. What's one of the best reasons for it?
I only go through what I did. For me, I was like, when I sat there and said, I want to learn something I want to learn some self-defense. I want to learn A, B, C, and D. I want to learn how to hurt too. I said, I want to learn how to set something out. And I said, okay, well, what can I do? And I have an issue with kicking and jumping and things like that because I've had knee surgeries. And I was like, you know what? Boxing's not that much of legs. Let me learn how to box. My boy was like this. Turns out, it's not that at all.
Well, you were wrong.
I picked it. I literally said, I'm going to learn
Mom
this.
was wrong again.
You know, and I'm talking about, I actually was in high school wanting to. When you knew me then, I wanted to box. But my first incident with the gym out here locally where we're from, the gym treated me like crap the one day I went and never went back. That was the thing, Sam. I'm just here to take your money. And because you just this kid, you not A, B, C, and D, I'm not going to give you the time of day. I'm just going to take your money and put you on a bag, and that's about it. And I didn't like that, and it deterred me from what I wanted to do because I said, I'm going to pick this because it's not that bad. Then, 10 years later, I decided to go into this gym, realizing that it's 99% legs. You know what I mean? 99% legs.
Literally.
I was like, well, but even
all your power comes from where your car. You're literally moving the whole time.
I had the option to give up, and I was like, no. But I'm saying the training, the learning, everything else, everyone should do that. Everyone should learn the ethic of something of the sort. Now, that being said, I'm a regular dude. I got a regular job, too. I got a B, C, and D. I am not a content creator like Logan and Jake Paul. And I know that their job is stressful because they're at that platform now that being rich and famous is pretty tough.
And you got to stay there.
And you got to stay there.
See,
maintaining is what's tough, and that's what you do. Everyone's all in your business. Everyone A, B, C, and D. Like I said, even when it comes to music, I would love to be famous and all that, but I would rather be a famous songwriter than a famous singer. And the reason why is because I can be behind the scenes more and not have to deal with the issues. Feel bad for them sometimes.
It comes with a price.
Comes with a price. And their price that they paid, Logan and Jake Paul, like those guys in particular, like it's hard to take them serious. For me, it's hard to take you seriously because of the image that you've portrayed. It's probably hard for anybody to take me seriously that knows me.
I think Logan Paul has come a long way. Obviously, he was a huge YouTuber, and he did his YouTube.
Yeah.
He had that big hiccup he did where he posted a horrible picture.
Yeah.
And that was bad. Obviously, it was terrible for not only a bad decision, but just an awful thing to do. But he was able to bounce back and just say, hey, I fucked up, and that wasn't what I wasn't really. I was out of my head. I did something stupid, and then went into boxing, and he actually, he has his own podcast now. I mean, while I know that they do talk a lot of shit, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of him talking shit, but then again, I don't follow him that much. I'm not a regular follower of his. I know his brother is another fucking level of shit talking. I just seen a couple of his videos, and I'm like, God damn, this guy don't fucking play around.
I watched that video. I don't know if it's real or not when him and Ryan Garcia got into it, and then Ryan Garcia was like, "Yo, sign the papers."
Ryan Garcia is a fucking savage.
It's a different breed.
Is that kid for real?
He's a real person.
Ryan Garcia.
He's a real person.
Is okay. This is okay. I'm glad we talked about this because this is something that I just recently found out about, and I didn't even know who he was for ever. And then I was talking to my buddy, and he was like, "Yeah, you ever seen who Ryan Garcia is?" And I'm like, "No." He's like, "Bruh, I'm about to blow your fucking mind." And I go, "Okay." He shows me this video, and he does not look like, if you see him in an interview, he does not look like a fighter. And this is the thing. There's no look of a fighter. He
looks like a teenager. He looks like a 16, 17-year-old.
He looks like a kid, right? And you're like, okay, this kid is not gonna. And then he starts doing work, right? He starts warming up. He starts working, and then you're like, holy shit, his speed, like his ability to generate power, and like
his brother's a beast too. His little brother's a beast too.
Holy shit! And I was like, this is crazy. And he's what? What did he fight at? Like, is he a featherweight or what? What is he like? What's the weight?
I don't even remember offhand.
He's a little dude. He's a little guy. But dude, that guy is scary.
I can tell you the weight classes. The lighter the weight class too. Like from what I'm understanding, lighter the weight class, I think it's tougher. These guys are faster. These guys their stamina's different. Everything's different. I want to say that that Ryan Garcia though too is just on a whole. I watch the videos and I go, damn. I couldn't touch this guy. I couldn't touch this guy if I was 10 times better. I still couldn't touch that guy. Like I feel like I wouldn't touch him. I feel like he'd lay me out, and I got 100 pounds on him at least. You know what I mean? At least.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself that with his punches, he's gonna put in work. He's gonna put work on me, and he's gonna damage me. Okay. Oh baby, don't touch those. Those are on. See on cameras.
It's okay. She's so interested. She's so intrigued.
She's
I love
intrigued.
it. I don't mind it, man. It's all good. You're fine. This isn't. Hey, man, we're not in like a live studio right now. It's just we're having a good time. It's all good.
But so like he's a crazy fighter, and he's not crazy. He's actually on his way to being a legendary fighter. You know what I mean? And that O is a big deal. When you're something in O, doesn't matter, especially at the numbers that they're putting up now. You know what I mean? He's in his high 20s now, I think, in O. So that's a big deal, and people are after that. Mm-hmm. And then the fighters that they want to put him up against, that want to start, because his last fight, he fought a guy with all the fights he's had, and every fighter has had, once you step in the ring with somebody, you've already established a level, and they've all worked extremely hard. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's outclassed a few of his fights for show. Outclassed, right? But his last fight was a fight. And he used his boxing intelligence and his skill set and his commitment to what he does, and succeeded. And when he got put out for the first time that boy got laid out, and he was like, got up, and it was just different. And he was excited. You know what I mean? He was like, and then
something changed.
But he still was fighting. You know what I mean? And it's just like, great to get knocked down, but the getting up, you know what I mean, and finishing the fight in the way that it is, that someone has to end this. And I don't want to give out the wrong information too, because yet again, I am still green. In 2 years, I'm still green. I am now watching more than ever and learning and rooting for people who are professional, and learning who I want, that aren't just who I want to succeed, who aren't just big time fighters. You know what I mean? I'm like starting to watch people who are starting their professional fights, and I want to follow them. But to the Logan and Jake Paul thing and putting them in comparisons. If you have the money to do it, it's all well and good because you are built that way. Ellie, what is it, baby? Don't worry about that, Mama. Don't worry about that. Go sit over here and watch TV, please. It doesn't matter. Go sit and watch TV, baby. We're almost done. Okay?
It's all good. You're good. Go ahead.
So yeah, you have the money to do that. That's fine. I don't have the money to pay for, you know what I mean? I don't have $1,000 a day session money where I can sit there and do that, nor do I have the actual time to do that. I'm doing everything that I can in my power, but also to survive and take care of my family at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's good on them. Don't want to sound like a hater because if you got the money and the time, do it. But what you represent to me, what you represent is I'm grinding with nothing. You know, I'm trying to grind, and you're getting to fight on cards with people, even if it's an exhibition match. Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, legendary fighters. You're on the card. You're in the. People say that's not that big of a deal. To me, it is. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. But then and everybody else put out such a spectacular display where they can of putting their best out, and then you have this. Seems to be what's like a joke. It's almost like the comedy side of a. It's like the comedy hour at that point. It's the comedy piece that didn't need to be there, and the problem is, yet again, when you're dealing with someone like a social media star, you know what I mean, or a content creator like Jake Paul, YouTuber, and then you lose the way you do that Nate did. It took 2 seconds before the world went crazy with memes. It took 2.
Oh, bro,
the fight wasn't even over.
It was good. It was fire already.
It was
like 20 minutes, and I think it was 20 minutes later when I started the search, and I was like, "Holy shit! There's fucking all kinds of videos."
And what happens is it definitely almost implodes in itself all the stuff that Nate Robinson did in his career. You know what I mean? And being a multifaceted athlete, but he explained and expressed himself. I didn't train as much because ABC and D felt like he didn't need it. Some people were really, really rooting for him, you know what I mean? And it sucks when you really root for somebody and they lose against something you clear as day could have won. Clear as day could have won if you trained. I felt like
he didn't train, and it showed. It showed when he was rushing in all the time, leading with his head, kind of just being kind of belligerent with his shots. You could see it in the fight, and then grabbing on and holding him. He just charge in and then grab, and then charge in and then. Left himself open for, what was it? Was it a left hook or was it a right hook?
It was overhand right.
Yeah, overhand right.
So when the hand comes over, took him right. It took him out. But the thing about it is even that was just a lucky throw. Like it was just a throw to me. That's what it looked like. Be wrong.
You leave a chin out there, it's gonna get caught. It's just the way it is.
Jake Paul hears this and is like, lucky throw, and he wants to fight me. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, sure, I'm down. Like, but at the same time,
I'll train though.
But I'm training. It's different. I'm training. You know, I might. Who knows? I'm training, but the thing is, like, watching that, and because any punch can put you out. The one you're not prepared for. Nate Robinson wasn't prepared for any punches, and what happens is it made him look like a fighter. It made you look like a fighter, but to me, it was hard to take him seriously because it's hard to take you seriously from what you've already put out. And hopefully, what I wish for the best for those brothers is that if you're taking this boxing thing seriously, right? As time goes on, I hope people take you more and more seriously. And I know that if I was them, that's all I would want is people to take me seriously, not just with the flash or the ABC and D trash talking or put videos of me training here and there and you know what I mean. Like I want people to take me seriously overall. Yeah. And we actually took Nate Robinson. Like funny, we took him seriously as soon as he said he was gonna do it. People were like, "Yeah," you know what I mean. And maybe because of everything else he's done, he's didn't take it seriously. And at this point, it just was hard. It's flipped it. But people want to fight Mayweather and Conor McGregor. You want to fight those dudes? Fine. I hope that they take you seriously because when you're in the ring and you don't take someone seriously, that is dangerous.
Right.
You know, when you don't take it seriously, that's dangerous. And I would hate for Floyd Mayweather to get in the ring, be playing around, and then Logan Paul end up hitting him with one shot because he wasn't. Because it would be hard for me to take you seriously. But you know what? But people like Mayweather, though, it's different. When you're in the ring, it's different. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah.
When you step in that ring, it's different. I think that won't happen. I would hate for that to happen. I'm 99,000% sure it's not going to happen.
Okay,
And I put my foot in my mouth if, oh my God,
I think
that
it's
boy
gonna
hit that
be-
canvas one time. If Mayweather hits that canvas, I would be
I'm not going to watch that fight.
flabbergasted. I don't even want to put.
I hate to say it, but I'm not going to watch that fight. It's not that I have anything against either of the
That's next
fighters.
month.
I'm not going to.
That's
watch
next
it.
month. Supposedly, that's next
I'll
month.
just watch it on. I'll just watch it later. I'll stream it or some shit. I don't know. Figure something out.
I'm gonna watch it for sure.
My buddy's like, I just stream it. I'm like, how do you? He's like, I know people. I know how to do it. I'm like, okay, whatever. But needless to say, I did want to go into one thing. I was really interested in house. I know you as an artist, you've been working really hard with some of your music right now.
Last time I was here,
I see it in your
before
posts.
COVID, yeah.
I see it in your posts. I see a lot. You're doing a lot of production stuff. You're working with. You have some people lined up. You want to start filming some videos. You're really getting involved with that. What is the update on that? What are we going to see here in 2021? Are we going to see a new album, new EP, new something?
So yeah, the team of guys I'm working with right now. First and foremost, I am nothing, and I always say this, I am nothing without Candid. Off the bat, Candid, I am nothing without.
He's dope. He's
and
dope.
I'll always say that.
I'm
forever.
a huge fan too, and I follow him on Instagram.
So his music's
Yeah.
crazy right now.
Yeah,
So stream that everywhere. Stream all his stuff. His last song, I said, is crazy.
Fuck, you recorded something here. It was that Superman one, wasn't it?
That was The Week. That's me and him. It's called
The
The
Week.
Week. And
That's
we're
right,
but we're
The Week.
but what's crazy was that. So, I felt like I had a huge pause this year. I dropped 2 songs. I dropped SO2 and Home Alone. And when I did both those songs, I kind of had a momentum going. And then COVID hit yet again. It's a big thing for everybody.
Yeah.
And House in itself is the artist is looking. I was talking about with boxing is to be taken serious.
Yeah.
So the consistency matters now. I was blessed recently. I had some people who really believed in me and invested in me, and I was able
That's
to
awesome.
be able to get the programs and the hardware to be able to record more consistently in a home basis. You know, I'm burping the camera. I'm burping the mic.
It's okay.
You know,
You're only human, man.
yeah, at a home basis. So that has been a interesting thing because now learning how to do the bare bones stuff has already been ridiculous. Like learning about, controlling myself as long as controlling the computers. Like yet again, now I think even harder about how blessed I am to have Candid as an engineer and someone who powers me.
So he produces your. Does he work with you? Like, does he produce?
So-
or is like, what's his role?
He produces music.
Okay.
He produces music, right? Amazing song, amazing writer in itself too. But mainly what he'll do is, let's say a lot of times I'm using other people's instrumentals or I'm learning to compose on things on keyboard. And then what he'll do is he'll go down and he'll fine tune things, and he coaches me like, hey, this sounds like shit, or AB's not the beat, but here's what you're doing. Here's where you need to be at. You know what I mean? And sometimes he's that outside influence, or a lot of times that outside influence that makes me be meticulous, but at the same time not nitpick as much.
you kind of want that, and this is something that I mean, you kind of want someone to be like, hey man, try like this, or hey man, like, how about you do this, like, and a little bit. And
Absolutely.
I mean, in a more, I like, okay, I'll take constructive criticism all day. As an artist myself, I am constantly like critiquing myself and trying to be perfect. So to have someone like a producer or a engineer to be like, hey man, what if you try this melody instead of this one, or instead of going like this, try it like this and just see how it sounds. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
Yep. And he
then
cuts
listen
me
back.
off.
Yeah.
He goes, cool, don't stress. And I'll be like, all right, and like it's
Get you back in your.
it gets back there. So without him,
gets you out of your head for a minute and goes, hey man, come back
without
over here
him,
for a second.
nada. I mean, I give him a ton of credit that he deserves and more because he's been there from day one, and he'll be there from the end of days for sure. House, the artist, has been trying to be taken seriously. It's doing my very damnedest to be taken seriously now. It said even with the boxing and changing my image, I'm trying to build something that that I can portray myself out. I don't take a lot of photos. I don't take a lot of videos of myself, and I'm doing more of that now because
I seen it.
The
I
way,
seen it.
yeah,
I was like,
the way the
that's what I was talking
yeah.
about earlier. You're more like you're getting more to that production
Yeah.
side. Is I actually see you're devising like you're showing in your videos like an actual like cinematography kind of thing where you're like actually filming stuff in a way to where it's like it's produced.
Yeah.
You're trying to develop that. And I can see it, so I like it. I like it. We're going into that time now. Where even myself, I catch myself all the time trying to do that. I'm like, okay, I have all this stuff now. I have this platform. I have this, all this cool. I call all my cool toys. Bells and whistles and all that stuff. Well, now it's time for me to take that jump too as well. So I see you taking the jump, and I love it. I love to see that. I love to see that push in other people as well. And a lot of times people just go, oh yeah, I'm just gonna be stagnant and just do whatever.
Yeah. So yeah, the consistency now is basically I'm at a point where I'm recording music, and I'm doing my best to learn how to get the best crystal clear and studio quality, almost in home. So my whole entire project, and what I would like to do from here on out is be able to, when I get home, I say, boom, I want to work on something, and I've been just doing it, and then I just do it. And now what I'm doing is, now that I have this open venue to do anything, I'm now narrowing things down and scheduling better. So the consistency will be there.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I'm in bare bones creating concept work for every song that I would like to be on the next project. I was going back and forth with things, but I decided that my next project is going to be called What Happened to Jaron. House, and why is it house?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I not just Jaron Carolina? In the aspect of me taking myself seriously, I wanted to create like I said, I wanted to create a namesake, something that represents me. So I chose house, and I think we talked about that in a previous podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, What Happened to Jaron is going to be of a mix of a lot of different styles of music, and I'm going to be taking a lot more risks. Even things I say, I'm not going to hold back so much. As in Jaron, like I have 3 songs that are out on all platforms as Jaron. But House has 2, and both songs sound nothing like what I was prior because they're me being risky. They're me taking a chance and talking about things I don't really talk about. Right. Even from the terms of sex and sensuality to I'm sad. Like, I'm literally going to go from the aspect. I'm basically going, I'm not really going to give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm looking for. Like, I'm just not going to give a fuck and say what I want to say, and the music is not meant for...
If you don't like it, you don't like it.
You don't like it, you don't like it.
Yeah.
And the validation aspect we're talking about is a big key.
Yeah.
So that's why this is going from here. We're gonna have the goal. The goal is to put out a full body of work. So because I'm not a signed artist, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
A lot of people say don't put out a lot of songs, but I'm gonna put out a lot of songs. My goal is to put out 3 or 4 singles this year. The project drops towards the middle of the year, around July. That's my goal. And then, we ride out the rest of the year, just dropping more visuals and pieces together. I'm really excited because the person that's doing a lot of my visual work with this project coming has been Ryder Ali. He's believed in me for the longest, and I think that people need to believe in him more. And the work that he's doing with the time, his skill set, the equipment, I love it, and it represents him, and his creativity is a big piece of me too. So like Candid with my sound and Ryder with visual aspect, I'm not gonna do much outside of him when it comes to videos and visualizing. Not much. I have one other person I want to work with on one in particular song. Other than that, that's like my go-to guy.
Okay.
And he believes in me.
That's cool. Okay,
so I'm really messing with people who believe in me.
That's cool.
And,
I heard you mention Ryder. I haven't seen him in a while. Shout out to Ryder, man.
Yeah,
it's been a long time, Ryder, but I know you're still out there killing it.
Yeah, you should see him. You should bring him down. He's been doing a lot, especially with his cinematic stuff with his.
Is he still doing comedy? I know he was doing comedy for a minute.
Yeah, he's still working. He's been focusing on more of being behind the camera, because his artistic side on that is a big deal for him. And
So he's more like of a director kind of standpoint?
Yeah.
Oh, director. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So director, and he's been a cameraman. Like I said, the last couple of
Hey,
videos
man.
that I've posted, it's been him behind the camera. But, you know, he's starting this point when it comes to me, and hopefully that growth happens more and more with us. You know, more people and more things want it. More people and I invest in him too for that growth, because I get to reap the rewards too. But he's really good, not only a team member. We're a team. He's one of my best friends. You know, and I love that dude with all my heart, man. And he's such a good person. So I'm just really glad, man. Ryder, you believe in me. You know, I believe in you. And, you know, so.
That's good. It's good to have a team like that, too.
Yeah.
It's good
And
to
no matter where it goes, you know. Meanwhile, we're getting ready to drop the first single. And what I've done is I'm creating the platform. We got 5 or 6 songs in the pocket now.
Awesome.
No one's heard them.
I can't wait.
But the team themselves, the people who have chosen to hear them, I go, okay. Then we're gonna go, what's the single? And then now what we're doing is we're doing singles and then visuals. You know what I mean?
Okay, you're gonna do a teaser. You're gonna do like a whole thing, or
yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we're trying to do. So my goal is to not just make a music video. My goal is to start creating things for media content.
Okay.
You know, so that it puts myself in a position to when I drop songs, people are not just, it doesn't go by the wayside. It's something that gets that some people are like, oh yes, I'm ready to hear this. And when people become more open minded, when I start giving them pieces, then they become more open minded and open to hearing more of the music. Just want to be heard. I want my words to be heard. You know, I want my composition to be heard, and I want people to understand the art of it all. And you know, there'll be some eccentric and deeper pieces, and there will just be some pretty much how it is pieces. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll talk about sex. We'll talk about the ideas of being alone. We'll talk about the ideas of not being alone or being in love. We're going to talk about people who didn't believe in you and now they want to, and taking the high road and taking the low road. We're going to do all those things, and I'm really excited about that.
That's good, man.
It's hard to talk about
No,
sometimes because
it's good.
I just want to do it.
I want to talk about
more.
it. Well, no,
Like,
well,
yeah.
I want you to talk about it. I want to hear about it. I want people to hear about it. I want to see. You know, I've always been a fan. I work with you. You mentioned, you know, you want the words to come out. I know we were just talking about this before we got on about words, about when we performed at Words back in 2016.
Yeah.
And we just straight slaughtered that show.
Yeah.
I didn't expect. I think you said it so funny. You know, I was there with you. No one really kind of knew what we were bringing. No one kind of really knew what we were doing. They were like, "Oh, who's this kid you brought over with the guitar? Who's this? What was it? Somebody said, "Who's this white boy you brought over with you?" And we go up on stage, and everyone's kind of like, "What's about to happen? What's the plan? I don't know." And sure enough, fucking, we go up there and we start ripping it, and people were like, "What the fuck? These guys are." And I'll never forget that the Words setup, the how it is a dance studio. If you guys don't know, obviously we're talking about Words. Out in Bliss Urban Arts Center out here in Vacaville, California. Dance studio owned by our friend Faye here, and a good friend of his as well. She does
mom,
that's his mom, and she does events called Words, where basically it's spoken word, poetry, and dance, and then it has hip hop and stuff in there as well. I got blessed to be able to be a part of that. Jaron here was able to invite me out there, and we had such an awesome experience. We got to practice some new material. Black Snake Moan was was his hits at the time. We were working on a lot. I got to be a part of the song Frankenstein. I fell in love with that song. The first song I heard by it was Frankenstein, and I'm like, that's the song I want to play. And I remember I heard it, and I sat down on my guitar and started playing it. And I was like, hey, Jaron, I have this idea, you know. He came over, and you were like, bro, that's fire. Let's do it. And then it just it awoke from there. But we performed at Words, man. I had never been a part of something so unique in a way to where people sat down. They came to see you. They came to show their love. They came to like say, hey, we want to hear your voice. Whatever that voice is, whether it's poetry, dance. I mean, there's some incredible dancers that go there too. And then, you know, that year we had the poet, the famous, was it poetry?
Yeah. Rudy Francisco, who was actually supposed to be there.
I was going to go to that one too
last month.
Yeah.
And it just yet again, COVID.
It happens. It
happens. We got lockdowns, and just it was literally the day before we go on lockdown. The day before we go on lockdown.
I know.
So
I was gonna go because I called Faye about it and asked her. I was like, hey, I want to go. You know, what do I have to do? She's like, just show up. It's fine. And I was just saying that kind of platform is awesome. and it really kind of got me more like I remember it was so long ago now I think about it, but I loved it so much it stayed with me for so long. But then being able to work with you like that was really cool too. Being able to sit down, go over material. I mean, you were writing that song here. Remember you come over here and you're like, I don't really know what we're gonna do. And I remember I had my setup and I'm like, hey, just fucking sing into the mic. We'll record this shit, and then we'll figure it out later. And I remember we
Figure it out later.
and it was very skeleton form. It was very like simple. It was a lot of fun, man, and I really enjoyed it. So to hear that you're doing more stuff, it just excites me more, and I'm a huge fan.
We have a lot more work to do.
I can't wait to hear what you're gonna bring to the table, and I can't wait to see you develop as a musician. I can't wait to see what happens. Because a lot of times musicians, what they'll do is they'll put out something and they'll get stuck in that, and then they'll just continuously go that way. I myself have a hard time breaking my mold because I love my comfort zone. But in order to be better, you got to like push yourself and do something that's outside your comfort zone. So I seeing you do that, talking about these songs and how you're doing something that steps outside of that. That's good. I like to hear that because that shows me that you're willing to try something new and just go for it.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me stepping out is that I write all the time, and now that I'm making the music, and I have music that goes on platforms, that's all well and good. But now what I'm trying to do is put myself in front of a camera more. Yes.
I love the candy cane. That whole thing was funny. The candy cane tap. I'm gonna.
One, I don't know where you got that from, and Derek can say you can have it. Eliana, listen. You had
parenting.
You have had
to the max.
Yogurts.
It's okay. We love kids.
Candy, right? Your hair's a mess.
I love it.
Guess what? All right, we might be able to go get some candy, but you're not gonna have the candy cane, okay?
But you never get candy from me.
All right. Really?
You get called out, man.
Really? Never get candy for you? Really? Okay, I want you to go sit on the couch and watch TV. All right, please. We're almost
done. I'll keep him for a little bit longer, okay? I promise.
And then
I
we'll
promise.
figure it out, all right? But I need you.
And I'll convince him in this to get you some candy.
All right, we'll talk about it, okay? Can Daddy please finish this? This is important. Daddy is working. Thank you.
But
the biggest thing is that is being in front of a camera. Like this is a big deal for me because I don't like my face. So like when I like my face, I'm thinking with my body insecurities and what I'm bringing myself out is dealing with those things and saying to myself, hey, I'm actually fucking dope. And I've always portrayed that in performances when I'm doing things like out of nowhere. I've always hit a pinnacle. Like, where did this come from, and why I hit this peak of like when I hit this point, I'm like, whoa, people, this is phenomenal. And then I go back into an insecure level, and I kind of want to talk about that.
Yeah, remember that confidence thing I told you about? We were talking about that confidence piece goes into play. And I know a lot of times what I'll say is like whenever I've talked previously in the past about it, like you and I have always had this ability, this inept ability to, when we put a mic in front of us, it's like it gives us like the power. We just love it. I'm one of those people now. Since I've been singing and performing, I got a mic in front of me. I'm happy. I'm comfortable. I love it. Like it doesn't frighten me. Some people are just like, they get a mic and they're like, hello. Like they just don't know how to deal with it, or they're too far away from it, or they don't know how to. You're not around it.
Yeah.
And there's some points where it does freak me out sometimes to be on stage, or it does freak me out. Like you still get nervous. If you don't get nervous, man, it's not fun. You got to get nervous.
Yeah.
You're way better when you're nervous. You're on edge. But there's always that point, where hey, there's comfortability, and then you get that confidence. You get to go out there and do your thing, and you get to show people you. Yeah. That's another cool part about it. You get to show people your art and you. And that's one thing that a lot of people forget. They go out and they write these. They do a lot of like writing and stuff like that, and they're so timid or shy to show that because they're afraid of showing who they are. Like some people are scared of that. I mean, I myself catch myself sometimes writing songs that I'm just writing because I think that would be like the best thing that I can do, or the best style that I do is this. Whereas writing for who I am, like writing just songs that I want to sing, instead of writing songs that I think that I sound the best at.
Yeah.
Like I sound really good at country music, so I should sing country music songs. Well, what do you want to sing? Sometimes I catch myself that way. I have a couple friends who always talk to me about that. Like, what do you want to sing? And I'll show them old material that I wrote years and years and years ago, when I was like 14, and I'll be like, here, or no, I was like, I was 19, and I wrote the song out here, man, and he's like, this sounds more like you. That sounds like you.
Yeah.
And I go, what do you mean? I'm not. He's like, you're not trying to do anything. You're not trying to represent something. You're not trying to pick a genre. You're just a guy in his guitar playing a song. And you're telling a story that you wrote. And you mentioned something about your music earlier, and I was thinking about it in my head. Real recognizes real. So when you go out on stage and you put yourself out there and you write these and you put these words down and you represent yourself in a certain way, they'll recognize that. And with words, that's what happened with me. I was like, okay, I did my thing with you, and I sang a cover song. We didn't really. I sang like, was it incorporated Californication, right?
In a Frankenstein, which was dope.
Yeah, it's tight as fuck. And then after the show, we were done, and everybody was like, it was we were on cloud nine. You and I were that show, man. I loved it because it was so funny. Because after the show, we like linked up for a minute, and then we split up, and then everybody was talking to separately. We were never like together like a group thing. It was like we had our own separate kind of thing. But I remember like one guy after the show was over came up to me. He's like, "Yo, can I get a picture with you, bro?" And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "One day you're gonna be fucking famous, and I want a picture with you now." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay, I'll take a picture." And like it occurred to me, I don't take compliments very well. I'm really bad at it. I get awkward. I'm like, "Oh, thanks a lot," But I was like, that's really cool. I was able to touch or I was able to reach somebody in some way to where they thought that that they were like, "Man, this is cool. I met someone who actually is like, who's doing shit." I thought that was cool, and that's why I like that. That's why I like that platform. That's why I like that environment, and that's why I thought it was so cool that I was able to do it and then work with you at the same time, because you and I have this kind of weird connection. It's just with our music. It's just what we do. We something about how we work together. We're on the same level. You know what I mean? And I liked that. So that was really cool, and I just expressing my appreciation a little bit. Just kind of like that. But yeah, man, it was a lot of fun, and I think you're gonna, with what you're working on now, I think you're only gonna get better. I think you're only gonna get better, man. I've seen you play the shows. I've seen you go out there and play at churches and play at small little venues. I saw the videos you posted. We talked a little bit about it last time you were here, and I thought, man, dude, this guy, you're gonna do it. You just got to do it. And that's always tell my friends the same thing about whenever I want to do something. Like, I'll do it. If I really want to do it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But if I don't, I know how to be lazy as fuck.
Yeah.
I am the king of being lazy if I want to be. But at the same time, there's moments like this. Like, hey, you know what? I want to have my buddy over. I want to have a podcast. But wait, I want to be able to sit down with my friends and talk about stuff that matters. I want to be able to talk about things that we can correlate and work and talk about that isn't only meaningful, not just to me, but could be to somebody else out there. How can I do that? Oh, you know what? I'll create a platform to where I can share my thoughts, my ideas with my friends, and talk about that with between one another, and then share it with the world.
Yeah.
Because you never know. You might be able to reach somebody, and I learned that in music. I learned that that's the biggest thing in music is connecting with a person. I said this before. I go, if I can connect with just one person in a show, I'm winning.
Yeah.
If I look out in a show and I see someone tapping their foot to my beat or my guitar, I fucking won. I feel good because I'm like, I got that one person involved. I got that one person to connect with me. I got that one human brain going, oh man, there's something cool about this that I'm linked to it. And then I think that's something that a lot of people kind of neglect to realize is like that's the part, that's the part that draws you in. That's the beauty of music sometimes, art, anything for that matter. Poetry, spoken word. Spoken word's fire. Like that shit is fucking fire. I can't imagine even trying to do that. Singing for me is tough enough, but like being able to reach people, that's the biggest part of it. That's why we do it. At the same time, yeah, there's somebody who are selfish artists who go out there and do it because they love to do it, and it's all about them, and that's fine. That's cool, man. If that's you, be you. Represent yourself, and that's how you're gonna do it. But at the same time, there's also a lot of pluses and a lot of good things that come out of it too, as well. There's a lot of cool things where you can reach other people and connect with them. You know what I mean? So. Do you think, what's your opinion? Do you, when you're writing material, would you consider yourself a selfish writer, or do you like to reach your fans or reach some of your friends or incorporate that kind of relationship in your writing?
I'm going to say that I'm a selfish writer.
Okay.
I'm going to say that I'm selfish, and then what happens for me is that I find all these reasons to write different things. And that's normal. I can write to vent. I can write not to vent. I can write to vent over somebody else's issue, which I do a lot of. It does nothing to do with me. I just take someone else's maybe a moment in their life, and I will write about it and put it out and world build on that. But then when I play it or I sing it, then people go sit down. Then when I play it or I sing it, and then it's like all of a sudden this person's like, yo, I feel that. And I'm like, do you really? And I'm like, then it happens like that, and I'm like, oh wow, people really feel this song, or like, you know, certain songs particularly, like, wow, they really feel that, or they'll go, you know what, I've been feeling this way, you know, outside of like sexy songs, you know what I mean, or songs that depict sensuality or physical touch between people, you know, or club songs. People, oh, that's cool, they have a great beat, and they're like, okay, I get it. But then songs that I like to write that people are like, yo, this song made me really think. Yeah. This song made me really think about what I did or things going on with me or my partner or A, B, C, and D. And I'm like, wow, I like when people put themselves into the music that I write, because then it makes me feel like, wow, I'm doing something good. Even if the song isn't about something good, I'm doing something good. I'm letting people become aware of themselves too.
You're connecting with another individual. You're not only writing to write. I mean, you're doing what you love, one, and then you're connecting with other human beings around the world. You're having that connection. You know, people are getting to know you. People are hearing you and thinking, and that music is translating in their head into something that relates to them, correlates to them. A famous thing I was talking about, I heard one time. He goes, somebody asked Bob Dylan about what the song is about. And Bob Dylan says, doesn't matter what it's about. How do you feel? What do you think it's about? And it was like, okay. You think about it like, okay, what do I think? Because it doesn't matter. It's all open to interpretation. Music is that interpretation, you know? Some people are very direct. They're in their writing. They're direct. They tell you exactly what the problem is. Some people aren't direct. You know, some people are like, what the fuck are they saying? You have to kind of figure it out. And I think it's really important sometimes. Like it's actually, I shouldn't say important, but it's very interesting when you're able to communicate something without actually telling you what you want to say. You're able to say something in a weird way, and then later down the road, someone goes, hey, this is what they meant. And then someone, like, you're like, oh, I think he's talking about this, this, and this. And then someone's like, well, no, this is what it means to me. And you're like, oh, shit, I didn't even think about it that way. Because we all have our own perspectives and our own ideas on what we think. And I think that's the beauty of it. You know what I mean? I think that's deep down, that's kind of like, that's the cool part about music, in my opinion. Like, you can listen to one thing and have 6 different fucking perceptions or 6 different ideas of what they're talking about, because 6 different people hear it. You know, but it's just that connection. You talk about that one person who went, oh man, like, I know this, like, I know the sound isn't very, or the message you're kind of get across is very good. Like, oh, okay, you're talking about this and this, that's some dark shit. But like something about the beat hooked me in, or something about the hook. Like, you had a killer ass hook that just had me sunk in. So when I hear the hook, I'm like, fucking, this is fire. Or I listen to this when I work out, because it has this weird emotion to it to where it pushes me, or like, that's the kind of stuff that I go, oh man, this is tight. Yeah. This is tight shit. I love it. You know what I mean?
My boy, when I wrote one song, my boy was with me. My boy Dylan was with me, and he was in the studio I was in, and I was singing the song. He goes, yo, this song is dope. You should change one word. And it was a word to make it basically gender ambiguous. Just instead of a she or she did this, right? Mm-hmm. Right? He said to take those out and don't use many of those at all. Try to use this right now in this song in particular. And then I felt what it had done is that I felt that now I've opened interpretation to other sexual orientations about their partners. So if I talk about in this song he and she, or me and she, now a lot of people, you know what I mean, it then became open
to everybody else.
And then I started to do a lot of other songs like that. And then now they're more open, where people can put themselves into it and make it represent somebody else. You know what I mean? So like if I'm talking about something like love, and all of a sudden it's this and this, now it's person A and person B can be anybody, not just keeping it narrowed. And it was something simple as that. And then now I get more talk about those songs in particular. more in particular than any of my other music, because people put themselves into it. And that one little piece, he was like, just switch this here.
That's it.
Just
And that's all it
these
takes,
two.
dude.
He's
That's all it takes. That's
Man.
all it takes. It's like that, and that's where that production, that's where that director, that's where that team, that's where that group of individuals that you work with a lot. That's what it really matters. And that's cool, man. I'm really happy that you're doing that. I'm really happy that you're bridging that gap, dude. I'm so pumped. I mean, I'm just a fan. I'm just a fucking fan, man. And I'm so glad that I'm able to provide a platform for you to even talk about some of your stuff, man. I mean, I know when I started doing this, I was just saying, hey, let's get together and hang out and chill, you know. But you know, now that I'm set up and I'm doing what I'm doing, I want to have more. I want to talk to more people. I want to reach people. I want to connect with people. You know, I got a couple of friends of mine who want to do this via Zoom, which is kind of weird. I'll do it. Like, I don't mind. I'll talk to anybody, man. I love talking to people. People are amazing. You know, some people are weird, but I like weird. Weird's cool, man. Weird's cool in any aspect. But your music, man, that's cool, man. I'm glad you're doing that. I really am, and I'm pumped that you were able to come out and sit down and talk to me about it.
We're gonna have a lot more conversations.
Yeah, dude.
We're gonna have more jam sessions, and I'm really confident in saying now more than ever that there's gonna be a lot more when it comes to music.
Yeah, and
So.
you mentioned this. We talked on the phone a little bit last night, or night before last. I think it was night before last. We talked about it, and you're like, "Yo," or you messaged me. You said, "Hey, man, we got a jam, like for real." You messaged me, and I was like, "Oh shit, okay." I'm like, "Yeah, we definitely do." And I was thinking, I'm like, you know, when we were working together a lot, you know, you hadn't had a whole lot of guitar influence with a lot of your music. It was always keyboard or electronic, or you know, Candy would write you, or you know, put together a song or some shit, or put together a soundtrack for you, and you do that. You never really had a guitar, so I was like, I guess I'm not saying you didn't have any guitar anywhere in point, but you know, you never had that acoustic kind of like me, just kind of jamming in the background. And then once you kind of heard that, you were like, okay, like I kind of like that. And you used a word I like a lot, skeleton form. Like a song in its skeleton form, its most basic form, is kind of the best part, because you get to way past all the other stuff to enhance, and it just focuses on my version, like the raw talent of it, like the rawness of it.
Yeah.
You know, you hear songs like I'll give you an example. Was it Sam Smith? Was it Latched or Latched? And you hear the techno version of it, right, or the version that you hear on the radio, and then you hear the acoustic version of how he wrote it, and you're like, "Fuck me!" Like that's the song I want to hear live. But sometimes that song isn't like, you know, the way people want to hear it, because they want to hear it in that way where it's, you know, jazzed up and it's all clubby and it's like, oh, it's got heart racing. But I think the message of the song was supposed to be a certain way. You know, I think the message was supposed to be a certain way, and it's supposed to be delivered a certain way. So. And I'm really glad you got to come out here, man. I'm really happy to have you on, Jaron. It's always a pleasure. You want to shout out anybody while you're on and talk about? You know?
Like I said, shout out Candid, shout out Ryder. Geez, there's so many people. You know, shout out to my mom Faye. Shout out to T Carrier. Shout out to Punch the Purpose, shirt I got on right here, and the whole team behind that. And shout out to every instrumental, every beat maker, every person that puts their heart out in sound, that's allowing me to just be lucky enough to put my words on top of those things and to be a part of your art form. I appreciate you guys. So a lot of those guys, a lot of different people I'm working with now. So shout out to my daughter, Eliana. Nothing. You know, Ellie Mae, and the mother of my child, because she wouldn't be here without her for sure. And, yeah, shout out to you and everything you stand for, man. I'm really glad to be here. I can't wait for the next time. Hopefully we're back here with talking about the work that's been put out now.
Yeah, man.
So, yeah.
I'm excited about that, man. And I'm really looking forward to it, man. It's always been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to D-Day Talks. I'm your host, Derek. Jaron, Carolina. I appreciate you. You guys have a good one. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.